Okay, so let's take a look at number 1 question. We can ask, what are you worried about? What are you worried about? Number 2, the answer is, thank you for driving me to work. Thank you for driving me to work. And as I mentioned, you can skip the question for this because it would be a little unnatural. It would be strange to ask a question for this. Okay, number 3, Serena is happy about getting a scholarship. And the question we can ask is, what is Serena happy about? What is Serena happy about? Number 4, Chang is tired of getting up early. Chang is tired of getting up early. And we can ask, what is Chang tired of? Okay. Number 5, Lisa and Theo are afraid of losing their jobs. Okay, afraid of losing their jobs. And we can ask the question, what are Lisa and Theo afraid of? Okay, what are Lisa and Theo afraid of? Yeah, baby. And number 6, Maurice is interested in learning about computers. Okay, and the question we can ask is, what is Maurice interested in? Okay, so exercise 5, complete the sentences. Use the information in the chart. So we can see some people, their feelings, and the activity. Okay, so make sure you include the correct verb, the correct preposition, and the correct gerund. Okay, so let's look at number 1. Ron is excited about going to college. So we have to include is. Okay, Ron is, and then excited about. So the preposition is about, and then the gerund is going. So make sure to include each of those words. Okay, so go ahead and complete numbers 2 through 5. And I also want you to make questions for these as well. Okay, so let's look at the question for number 1. What is Ron excited about? What is Ron excited about? Yeah, baby. Number 2, what is Miguel afraid of? What is Miguel afraid of? And we can answer, Miguel is afraid of losing his job. Okay, Miguel is afraid of losing his job. Number 3, what are Vincent and Anna happy about? Okay, and the answer is Vincent and Anna are happy about paying off their loan. So don't forget, this time the subject is plural, so we have to say are and then happy about paying off their loan. Number 4, we can ask, what are Tim and Betsy worried about? What are Tim and Betsy worried about? And we can answer, Tim and Betsy are worried about getting into debt. Okay, number 5, we can ask, what is Steve interested in? What is Steve interested in? And we can answer, Steve is interested in buying a new car. Steve is interested in buying a new car. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back to our student's book on page 90. Student's book, page 90. So this is our reading lesson. Okay, now I want you to take a look at exercise 1 first. It says, before you read. So look at the reading tip. Skim the magazine articles. Skim. Okay, skim means look through it quickly and then answer the questions. So the reading tip says, one way to organize information is to give problems and solutions. So if we skim or quickly look through the article, then we can guess what problem the people had and how they solved it. So if you look at number 1, it says, what problem did the people have? And if you look at the title, you can already see or you can already guess what the problem might be. The title is A Credit Card Nightmare. So we might say, the people had a problem with credit cards. And then number 2, how did they solve it? Okay, so if you look quickly, you might find in one of the paragraphs the word solution. Okay, so luckily the Kims found a solution. So it says right after that, they met Dolores Delgado, a debt counselor. So you could just say they talked to a debt counselor. Okay, they talked to a debt counselor. So I'm going to play the audio for this article, so follow along as you listen. And also, after you finish listening to the article, I want you to do exercise 3A on page 91. So answer those 7 questions in a complete sentence.
Page 90, exercise 2.
A credit card nightmare. Soon-hee and Joseph Kim got their first credit card a week after they got married. At first, they paid off the balance every month. The couple's problems began after they bought a new house. They bought new furniture, a big-screen television, and 2 new computers. To pay for everything, they applied for more and more credit. Soon, they had 6 different credit cards, and they were more than $18,000 in debt. It was a nightmare, says Mrs. Kim. The interest rates were 19% to 24%. Our minimum payments were over $750 a month. We both got second jobs, but it wasn't enough. I was so worried about paying off the debt, I cried all the time. Luckily, the Kims found a solution. They met Dolores Delgado, a debt counselor. With her help, they looked at all of their living expenses and made a family budget. They combined their 6 credit card payments into 1 monthly payment with a lower interest rate. Now, their monthly budget for all living expenses is $3,400. Together, they earn $3,900 a month. That leaves $500 for paying off their debt. We've cut up our credit cards, says Mr. Kim. No more expensive furniture. In 5 years, we can pay off our debt. Now we know. Credit cards are dangerous.
Okay, so let's take a look at number 1. What word in the article means terrible experience? So we can say nightmare means terrible experience. Or we could say the word nightmare in the article means terrible experience. Okay, number 2. What is the main idea of the article? So we could say Sun-hee and Joseph Kim had a terrible credit card experience. Or you could also say credit cards can be dangerous if you don't use them carefully. Okay, but since this article is about Sun-hee and Joseph Kim, the first answer is probably better. Sun-hee and Joseph Kim had a terrible credit card experience. Okay, number 3. When did Mr. and Mrs. Kim get their first credit card? So if you look at the first paragraph, you will see a week after they got married. So you can answer in a complete sentence and say they got their first credit card a week after they got married. Okay, and then number 4, when did their problems begin? Okay, so if you look at the next paragraph, the second paragraph, you'll see the couple's problems began after they bought a new house. So you could say their problems began after they bought a new house. Okay, number 5, how did they pay for everything? So if you look at the same paragraph, the second paragraph in the middle, you can see to pay for everything, they applied for more and more credit. Okay, so they applied for more and more credit to pay for everything. Number 6, according to the article, what things did the Kims do to reduce their debt? So if you look at the paragraph in the second column, starting with luckily, that's where it talks about a solution, and we looked at that earlier when we were skimming the article. So if you look around the middle, you'll see made a family budget and combined their 6 credit card payments into 1 credit card or 1 monthly payment with a lower interest rate. So you can say they made a family budget and combined their 6 credit card payments into one monthly payment with a lower interest rate. And then number 7, do you think the Kims will have financial problems in the future? What evidence supports your answer? So if you look at the last paragraph, you can see Mr. Kim says, we've cut up our credit cards. No more expensive furniture. And then it says, in 5 years, we can pay off our debt. Now we know credit cards are dangerous. So we can probably guess that the Kims won't have financial problems in the future. You can say, I don't think the Kims will have financial problems in the future because they know that credit cards are dangerous now. Okay? Or we could say, because they have cut up their credit cards. Or something that summarizes that last paragraph. Maybe you can say, they understand that credit cards can be dangerous if you don't use them carefully. Okay, so exercise B, build your vocabulary. Find these words in the reading and underline them. So you can see credit card, debt counselor, family budget, interest rates, and minimum payments. So before you go back to the article to find them, I want you to pay attention to each of these words or phrases. They are compound nouns, okay? So you can see that they are made up of 2 nouns. So if you look at number 2, it says work with a partner, but of course you can just work on your own. But it says, look at the words in exercise B1. They are compound nouns. In each of the 2-word combinations, the first word is, now it looks like it's a noun. So credit, debt, family, interest, minimum. Those are nouns. But when you have a compound noun, the first word becomes an adjective. So even though it says credit card, card is the main noun and credit is the kind of card. So credit becomes an adjective. What kind of card? A credit card. Same thing with the next one. What kind of counselor? A debt counselor. What kind of budget? A family budget. Okay, so as you can see, the first word is an adjective, so letter B. And then number 2, look at the words again. The second word is a noun, okay? So now I want you to take some time to go back to the article and find those words, those compound nouns, and underline them. And then do number 3. Match each compound noun with its meaning. And after you match the compound nouns with their meanings, I want you to do number 4. It says write other noun plus noun combinations. So try to think about 3 more, okay? Okay, so number 1, credit card. What is the meaning? And the answer is letter B. So you can say a credit card is a small plastic card that allows you to buy something now and pay for it later. Number 2, an interest rate is the rate or percentage of interest that you must pay each month on a credit card balance. So letter D. Number 3, a minimum payment is the smallest payment you can make each month on a credit card. So letter C. Number 4, a debt counselor is a person who helps you solve financial problems. So letter E. And number 5, a family budget is a spending plan that a family makes for itself. So letter A. Okay, now I hope you were able to think about many compound nouns, but some examples are computer program. So of course both are nouns, but in the case of computer program, computer becomes an adjective that describes what kind of program it is. Okay, and also maybe winter coat. Okay, winter coat and book club. So you might say, I'm part of a club. And someone might ask you, what kind of club? A book club. Okay, so now we are going to do a listening activity. I'm going to play an audio of an article from your workbook, but as I mentioned before, don't open your workbook, just practice listening, and then we'll look at it later after the listening. Okay, so go ahead and pay attention and take notes.
How many credit cards should you have? How many credit cards do you have in your wallet? Are you worried about getting into debt? Many Americans carry 4 or 5 credit cards, but others have more than 10. Is it a good idea to have so many credit cards? Some people almost never pay cash. It's easier to use a credit card. They use their credit cards for everything: food, clothes, gas, utility bills, and rent. However, when the bills arrive, people who have too many cards sometimes can't afford the minimum payments. It's also difficult to keep track of so many cards. It's not uncommon to have store credit cards. Some stores offer a 10 to 15% discount when you use their credit card. They also offer coupons and other discounts. But be careful. The interest rates on these cards can be very high. It's a good idea to use a store credit card at your favorite store if you shop there often. But you should pay off the account balance immediately. That way, you won't pay any interest. Debt counselors say that it's a good idea to have at least 2 cards. Use one card for everyday living expenses and keep the other one for emergencies. They suggest choosing credit cards with low interest rates, keeping your account balance low, always trying to pay more than just the minimum payments, and having no more than 6 cards.
Okay, so now let me ask you some questions. Okay, number 1, what happens to some people when they have too many credit cards? What happens to some people when they have too many credit cards? Okay, so we can say sometimes they can't afford the minimum payments. They can't afford the minimum payments. And then number 2, what do some stores offer when you use their credit card? What do some stores offer when you use their credit card? Okay, so we can say they offer a 10 to 15% discount. They offer a 10 to 15% discount. Okay, number 3, why is it important to pay off your account balance immediately? Why is it important to pay off your account balance immediately? Okay, so we can say it is important to pay off your account balance immediately so that you don't pay any interest. Okay, now you can make it shorter and you can say it is important because you won't pay any interest. Okay, it is important because you won't pay any interest. Okay, and then number 4, how many credit cards do debt counselors say you should have? How many credit cards do debt counselors say you should have? An answer in a complete sentence. Okay, so we can say, debt counselors say you should have at least 2, but no more than 6 cards. Okay, so debt counselors say you should have at least 2, but no more than 6 cards. Okay, now you can also say they say instead of debt counselors say. Okay, now I want you to go ahead and open your workbook to page 84. Workbook page 84.